Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's Pick-a-Reads. This video should be on James 13 Wicca on YouTube, just to make sure that that's there. I'll put the cards and dice that I use below if you're looking to see what I'm using. Most of my videos in the last couple months should have that. What else? I am currently doing in-person readings in Herkimer, New York. If you're near there and you're interested, shoot me an email, I'll give you details. Otherwise, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. All right, let's go ahead and get into your reading. Hello, Gemini. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Gemini? One more. Realistic but good so far. Okay, yeah, they're doubling down. Something new is starting. Usually, I don't think of Gemini as really having an issue with that. It's just questioning, is it here for a little time or a long time? So, there's conflict here. It seems like it's more in the past. Conflict about possibilities, conflict about what really could happen, conflict about what really makes sense. You got dreams with the Five of Wands. It's almost like, and I see this too, the Three of Cups, which is, I feel like, going to carry through this whole situation. I just feel like there's been arguments about, almost about philosophy. Or about, this could be that, or that could be this. This, oh my, okay, I'm going to go here with this. This is usually, every now and then you get people who are bent out of shape about something that it's kind of foreign to me, but it's kind of like if you grow up in a household, you experience one religious type of thing. Like you celebrate a certain thing a certain time of year, every year. And then maybe people, as kids get older, they find partners or they change religions or whatever they do, and they celebrate different things. They're not completely disconnecting, but like they celebrate other things. And it reminds me of like when people come into a situation later and they say happy holidays instead of like Merry Christmas or Happy Hanukkah or Happy Solstice or whatever else you got, Happy Kwanzaa, all that stuff. It's almost like when somebody says happy holidays instead of some of these other things, people get upset, kind of like, oh, they feel like they're being discluded. And it's kind of like, you could say what you want. Merry Christmas, you want to say Merry Christmas? Say Merry Christmas, that's cool. Say that. And if somebody else wants to say Happy Hanukkah, and somebody else will say, you know, Blessed Kwanzaa. I don't know how Kwanzaa goes. Whatever they say for Kwanzaa, I don't know. I'm sorry. Leave it in the comments, so that way I get like I know there's some type of greeting. You know what I mean? Or Happy Solstice or whatever it may be. It's not meant to disclude anybody. It's just that's what they do. So sometimes people just say Happy Holidays. Just like whatever you do, that's cool with you. And I see this in the past, like there's been arguments like I don't see the need to have these arguments, but there's been these arguments. It's kind of like you should do what you like, and that's fine. And just it doesn't have to be a problem here, but sometimes based on how people feel, there's conflict here. And when I see the dreams with the Five of Wands, it seems like there's stuff like that here where maybe there's conflict and it's kind of like the question mark, does there need to be? Or on the other hand, do these conflicts need to come forward so people actually can hear their own thoughts out loud? Sometimes that's a thing. I've noticed that over the years. Sometimes people need to say something themselves out loud to realize what they're doing and realize what they're actually pushing forward. And sometimes other people need to hear it just so they know where somewhere else is standing. So there has been conflict, but I feel like it really isn't that bad. Questionable. It's depending on how you view it clearly. Going into this next level, there's a really, really good energy that's moving you into a whole new era. Like, it's big. I feel like this is big. So no matter when you're watching this reading is valid for whenever you're coming to it. A whole new era is coming in, and they're backing it up with the new beginning. Like, whatever's going on here, I feel like I'm stepping forward and I'm not going backwards. It's the equivalent of jumping out of a plane. Once you jump out of the plane, I have seen some trick videos where people have gone back in the plane, but it's not quite likely. It's not very likely. Once you jump out of the plane's not turning around trying to pick you up. You're out the plane. You're going somewhere else. You're on the trip. And I get that there's been a lot of thought before this happens. Magician is there. Four of Wands reversed. Four of Wands reversed to me is breaking a contract or breaking a bond or breaking a tradition sometimes. Something is being like, maybe I thought I was going to stay for this situation for the rest of my life, but it's like, I'm not. It's gone. And there's been a lot of thought. There doesn't have to be, but a lot of times I do see the Justice card as a legal aspect. Doesn't have to be. Could be. I feel like you know if that's there or not. I feel like I have to say that a lot when I do readings for people. Like, the cards are subjective. It depends what's coming around them, since what the energy is going with it. It's subjective. Subjective. Like, that's why I say that with the general reads. I don't know why I keep throwing that in there. You are forging your way ahead. And I feel like wherever I am is uncomfortable. So it's almost like, all right, once I jump out the plane, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm out here now. Good thing I have the backpack here with the parachute in it. Good thing I got that. But it's kind of like, as you're going down towards the earth, you're kind of like, all right, now if I angle myself, I can go over this way farther before I open my parachute so I can be closer to that, or I can go over this way, or I can go over that way. You got so many options you could, you know what I mean? You got options here where you want to go. And you're like, well, since I'm falling anyway, I'm going to end up somewhere. And I feel like, again, if you're thinking of like jumping out the airplane and you're going towards the earth, it's happening. Even by just sustaining and just trying to think out your options, you're still choosing a direction. You're just going to keep moving straight down. Wherever straight below you, that's what you're going to end up towards. So it's kind of like, even by not making a choice, you're very well aware that you're making a choice. You're going to make it somewhere. This is going to create you're going somewhere. And I feel like it's very uncomfortable, but you're trying to navigate it best way you can. Kind of like, based on what I'm seeing come at me, this looks like a good idea, that looks like a good idea. It's kind of like, this goes up towards mountains, that goes down towards the shore. This one, actually, there's another one, I could stay at this level. Okay, I can stay at this level, but I might not get a choice for either of these again. So it's kind of like, I'm like, all right, which direction do I want to go? So like, if you're going from the plains, like, that's going to end up in the mountains, that's going to end up near the shore, that's going to end up in a field. This is going to end up in a town, that's going to end up in a different town, that's going to end up in a city. Do I want to end up in a city? So it's kind of like you're navigating it through. You're actively choosing, like, based on your life. You're like, do I want to be near the city so I can have a lot of options? Do I want to be in the mountains so nobody bothers me? What do I want to do? When I land this parachute, where do I want to go? Where do I want to be near? And it's quick decisions. I feel like they're quick decisions. I don't feel like I have the luxury to slow down here. And I do feel like whatever the outcome is, I just got to have confidence that I'm going to be okay where I end up. It does seem like there's some stress with this. That's something I'm missing. What's the stress that I'm missing for Gemini? I want this to be a healing journey. And I feel like what I'm trying to do is pick at least a place that I can find what I need to heal patterns that I don't want anymore. It's kind of like, maybe when I was younger, I'd gone closer to the mountains because I thought, well, I know how to forge for this and that, and I feel like I like that, and there's a lake over there I could swim in. But now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, but it probably would do me better to go towards a town or somewhere near a city, maybe not in the city, but land the parachute near one, because that way, then I could find the resources if I want to go back to that mountain. That's a lot easier for me to go there with a vehicle and leave it when I want to versus just landing there and having to walk 3 days out of that wilderness. I'd rather go somewhere where I have more capabilities and I can make my decisions. Like, you've made some decisions over times where you look back and you're like, I've made some decisions, I've succeeded with them. But looking back, I don't think I need that rough of a road. I'm going to pick some better ones. And you are going in a healing direction. I do feel like you are going in a healing direction. I feel like you're very stressed that, like, I hope I'm making the best choice to go into a healing direction. I feel like you're trying very, very hard to go in a healing direction. But I think also with Gemini, you're very honest with yourself. Like, just because I think it's healing doesn't mean that's how it's going to play out. um, you're going to keep moving. Even when you land, so you get where you're going to go, you land the parachute, say you're near a town or even near a city, wherever it is, just for argument's sake, you're going to keep moving forward. You're going to like, all right, I got this far. I didn't come this far to fail. Let's keep going. Like, I got to get to my destination. I got to keep moving. Got to find what I need to find. I know that Gemini loves possibilities, and that's a beautiful thing. But there's some considerations here. When you get into this situation, when you're going into this next level, there's going to be this moment where there's a lot of fun in the possibilities. A lot of fun to just keep going down these rabbit holes. It reminds me of like when you go onto like some social medias, and like I'm thinking of YouTube and stuff like that, where you watch this video and this video leads to that video, and then you watch this other video and this video leads to that video, and before you know it, you're like, I don't know how I got into like how to build a sink, but here I am. Like, I don't know what I was clicking to get to like how to do plumbing, but now I'm in a plumbing video. It's kind of interesting actually. But it's kind of like, yeah, be aware that you could end up doing that and just keep like looking in like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. You could get stuck in this. That's not going to help you heal. That's not going to help you get what you want. It's nice to have that stuff, and that's good. And I'm not saying you have to completely ignore that, so I'm not trying to do that to you either. But what they're saying is like when you show up at this town, for the analogy's sake, it's kind of like, okay, I definitely am hungry. I know that this place has what I like. Let me go there first and like sustain myself. It's kind of like, let me sustain myself with what I need first. I feel like that's the page. We don't have to go deep into this, but it's like when you get to this new situation, when you step in, establish the things that are going to sustain you, and then work from there. It's almost like, now that I'm in the city, I'm going to, get an apartment, and I'm going to have a home base. And then I'm just going to try to pick something near everything. And that way I always have a home base that I can go check this out, come back to my home base. Go check that out, come back to my home base. Go over here, come back to my home base. And just so you have that stability where you can keep coming back and you can keep having something stable to stand on that also allows you to explore these options. And when I'm saying the home base, for example, I'm going to add in another level. It's not like you need to buy a house, but maybe find a nice apartment that like, maybe it's a month-by-month apartment, or I don't know what you call that, a non-lease apartment, whatever you call those. So like, I'm here. I'm not like, imprisoned in this place, but I have it to where it's stable, and as long as I keep paying the rent, I can keep coming back here, and I have a touch point. I have a touch point. I remember there was a person years ago. I don't remember what the business was, but they were traveling out of town to this same place, this same town. And they got word from the people that they were working for that they were going to be doing a project in that town, and it was going to take at least a year, more than likely at least a year and a half, actually. So instead of living out of like hotels or whatever they were doing, which they could have done the whole time, I remember them getting an apartment and getting the place to pay for the apartment. And like, that's how they stabilized it. That's how they stabilized their surroundings. That's how because it calmed their energy a lot. I thought that was very interesting because they were telling me this story and they thought it was one of the better decisions they had made in their life because it stabilized. Like, they knew where they were going to go. They knew what they had to do. They knew they could get here. They could depend on things being there. And also the business was very willing and very happy with them because renting an apartment was a lot cheaper for them than constantly doing these hotel rooms. Like, they made best sense for everybody. So it made them look good, made them a lot happier. And that's kind of the analogy I'm giving you there. Because I don't think you have to do it that way. But they're saying if you can find like a touch point that you have the ability to do that, you can stabilize something, it'll strengthen everything else. And I'm seeing this tree here. It says financial health, but I get like, it's more like stability. It's like creating stability, feeling that stability, a healthy stability. I feel like it's a healthy stability. It doesn't have to be financial, especially this is a general read, but I'm seeing this tree giving me shelter, giving me a base point, giving me somewhere to where I can go, and I know that it's always going to be there, and I can use that to my advantage. So it's a possibility that you could do that and stabilize it where you can still explore, but always have that moment of sanity to kind of like, I can go back here. It's almost like having that apartment be like, now I got all my trinkets. I can, look at them and see what I like. Also, if I'm exploring certain things, I can have little places in my apartment where I can just have things laid out where it's, oh yeah, I was looking into that. Let me see if I can find more about that. Oh yeah, I was looking into this too. Let me see if I can find more about that too. It gives you a place to kind of have structure on your terms, There is also this energy. Is that past or is that something future? It does feel like that's future. Okay. There is support here, but there's also being off on your own. Okay. So whatever this is going forward, if I'm going to use that analogy of the person who they got the apartment for that travel issue. When they did that, I don't know how that went. I don't think they ever told me. But it's like them having that, but like they get off the plane or however they get there, and then it's up to them to rent a car. It's up to them to find their food. It's up to them to do this. It's up like they have to get to work. They have to do like all of it's going to be up to you to make this happen. Because I'm getting the 6 of Swords with the Strength card. Is that strength? That's courage. People are going to leave you to your own. People are going to leave you to do what you want to do without error. So I don't feel like people are going to be like getting in your way or trying to create things for you, which I feel like could be a great blessing in this situation. Because I'm getting like, it's all about what you want at this point. That's why they're saying stabilize it on your terms. It probably would serve you better because you got a lot coming in here, a lot of possibilities, a lot you could create. You're going to find things that nobody else is going to find. It's just having that stability to like organize it. It's just going to make it so much easier. Like I keep thinking about this apartment situation. It's kind of like I can put things up on the wall. I can put my notes here. I can put that there. So and I know where it's going to be. Versus like if I'm traveling back and forth constantly and I have a very small amount of space and I have to plan ahead of time or not. Do I want to bring this information with me or not? And am I going to easily be able to find it? And do I like the visual triggers to remind me about certain things? Stuff like that. It just makes it so much easier. You have a lot coming forward for you. They're saying it goes more to your advantage if you have that touch point. So stabilize first. Doesn't have to be a crazy amount of stabilization, but stabilize it on your terms so that way you can really flourish with this. That's the point. The way it seems like it's naturally going is I feel like for some reason it's not being stabilized, at least not to the level you could. I feel like it's just kind of like this person I was talking about with like, all right, they want me to just stay at this hotel. It's easy for me. I'll just do that. But they didn't like that. I remember they didn't like that because it was hard for them to like constantly be in hotels. They never felt like they were home. It created a lot of stress. And then when they had the apartment, it just felt like they could relax and be themselves and they didn't have to worry about, people walking by in the middle of the night or, dealing with the front desk or whatever they had to do. You know what I mean? It just made everything a lot easier for them. I remember that. Anything else? All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information that's below, same email. Thank you again for watching. Have a great day.